Hello everyone. Today I will tell you about Neisseria meningitidis, which belong to genus Neisseria. So this Neisseria meningitidis, it causes an important disease meningococcemia. So the patient of meningococcemia presents with meningitis along with there are rashes. So as the patient presents with meningitis, so there will be symptom of meningitis, that is the patient will come with fever, headache, vomiting and stiffness in the neck, and along with that there are rashes. So the patient with the meningococcemia, mostly they are asymptomatic, and if they are symptomatic they present with rashes, meningitis, or they could be also in the sepsis, that is the endotoxin secreted by the bacteria that could lead to the endothelial injury, and that could increase the vascular permeability and also the intravascular thrombosis. Now, important syndrome is also seen in this disease, that is the Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. So, what is this syndrome? It is a severe form of the meningococcemia in which there are very big purpuric rashes are there. The patient is in shock. There is also disseminated intravascular coagulation, bilateral adrenal hemorrhage is there, and multi-organ failure is also seen. Then there is another condition, chronic meningococcemia, that is also a rare condition in which there would be repeated episodes of rashes along with the fever, arthritis and splenomegaly. Then immunological reaction seen, that is the antigen antibody complexes are being formed, and that could lead to the arthritis, rash, pericarditis. So this slide shows the rashes in the meningococcemia patient. So what is this Neisseria meningitidis? That is, it is a gram-negative diplococci that could be present intracellularly or extracellularly, and they are lance-shaped or the half-moon. Whereas the another bacteria in this genus, that is the Neisseria gonorrhea, they are kidney-shaped bacteria. Now this bacteria is capsulated, capsule is present, and which is an important virulent factor for this bacteria, and this bacteria is also non-motile. Now, on the basis of antigenic nature of capsule, this has been, there are 13 serogroups of this bacteria, and among that group B and C is the major serogroup, which are usually isolated whenever the bacteria is isolated. X, Y, W, they are less reported. Initially group A was the main serogroup, but due to the vaccination, this has been come down. So this slide is the gram-negative diplococci, that is Neisseria meningitidis. This is also the gram staining. Now different virulence factor, that is the capsular polysaccharide, which is the most important virulence factor, and this capsule protects the bacteria from the phagocytosis, that is the complement mediated phagocytosis. Then second virulence factor, outer membrane protein. So this protein helps in forming the pores, and lipopolysaccharide and endotoxins. So these endotoxin, they activate the endothelial cells by means of the certain inflammatory mediator, like certain interleukins are there, like interleukin 1, 6. So they increase the vascular permeability. That will lead to the fluid loss and patient can end up in the shock. Then there can also be intravascular thrombosis, that is due to the activation of certain procoagulants. So that can lead to the disseminated intravascular coagulation. Then epidemiology for this bacteria, that it is common in the winter season, usually common in two age group, that is the childhood 3 to 5 years and adolescent 15 to 25 years. Overcrowding, traveler history, your military refugee camp, and important one is the complement factors deficiency, that is the C5 to C9 hyposminium. So these are the important risk factor for having this infection. This slide shows the Neisseria meningitidis colony on the chocolate. Now, how we diagnose this case of meningococcemia? That is, we have different samples we can take according to the symptom. So, important symptom is the meningitis. So, CSF is the most important sample, that is the cerebrospinal fluid. Then blood in the septicemia, sepsis, and nasopharyngeal swab can be taken. Now, how we process the CSF? So, CSF we take, first we will divide CSF into three parts. So, first part is centrifuged. From that, when it is being centrifuged, supernatant fluid, that is a top layer of the fluid, we can use for the capsule detection by means of latex agglutination. Along with that, we have to do the biochemical analysis in which we check the protein content and the glucose content. So when a case of meningitis comes, so it could be that meningitis could be either viral meningitis, tubercular meningitis or bacterial meningitis. So that is being differentiated among these three groups on the basis of this biochemical analysis. So as it is a bacteria, it is a bacterial meningitis. So in this, glucose content will fall down and the protein content will increase. Then from that centrifuge, we take the sediment which is settled on the just on the bottom layer. So from sediment, we will make the gram stain. So in gram stain, we will see gram negative diplococci, and they are intracellularly, mostly intracellularly present. In the second part of the CSF, we will inoculate on the blood agar and chocolate agar and incubate it for 24 to 48 hours. Usually in the bacterial diagnosis, we do the incubation for 18 to 24 hours. But in CSF, anywhere we are taking CSF, we have to incubate for 24 to 48 hours. With that, we have to also give 5 to 10% CO2 condition that we can provide with the help of candle jar. So we get the small 1 mm size colonies which are convex and green color and they are non-hemolytic. Third part of CSF, we will inoculate in the BHI broth, that is the brain heart infusion broth, that is the enriched broth, and from there we will do the subculture on blood agar and chocolate agar. So once the growth comes on the plate, from there we can do the gram staining and then we can do the biochemical testing. For another samples like blood, we have to inoculate in brain heart infusion broth, subculture on blood agar and chocolate agar. If it is nasopharyngeal swab, use transport media for that is a Stewart's media, and as there could be commercials present, then we have to take the selective media for the swabs, that is a Thea Martin. Then what biochemical testing we need, that is catalyst. It is a catalyst positive, oxidase positive. It ferments glucose and maltose, not the sucrose. For serogroup to know, that is the 13 serogroups are there which are based on the capsule antigen. So we do the slide agglutination. How we do slide agglutination? That is on a slide we take the creamy suspension of this colony in the normal saline and we add antisera to these groups. So if they are present, then they will react. Serological diagnosis, that is by ELISA for retrospective diagnosis of this infection. We want to check response to vaccination and in case of chronic meningococcemia. Molecular diagnosis PCR. Then treatment. So treatment is done on the basis of third generation cephalosporin are being used for the treatment, that is ceftriaxone or cefotaxime for 7 days. If the patient is in shock, aggressive fluid resuscitation and decrease the intracranial pressure. But the treatment does not finish to the treatment only. We have to also give the chemoprophylaxis to the person who are coming in contact with the case. That is, any person who comes in contact with the case of meningococcemia, we have to give a single dose of ceftriaxone intramuscularly. Alternatively, we can also give ciprofloxacin or rifampicin. Vaccine prophylaxis, so that I will make a separate presentation on that and I will share it later on. So let's have a quick revision that this Neisseria meningitidis is a gram-negative diplococci and it has a capsule is present. It causes an important disease meningococcemia. So the patient presents with if the patient is symptomatic, so patient presents with meningitis and rashes. And these rashes are non-blanching in nature. That is, when we put pressure on that, it will not fade away. Important virulent factor for this bacteria is capsule, which prevent phagocytosis, and endotoxins, which increase the vascular permeability, land the patient into shock, or increase the intravascular thrombosis. The patient will go into the disseminated intravascular coagulation. Diagnosis, important sample is CSF, other sample blood and nasopharyngeal. So CSF, you have to remember that we are dividing it into three parts. First part is centrifuge, divided into two parts, that is the upper fluid is the supernatant fluid. From that you can check the capsule by latex agglutination and the biochemical analysis. And from the sediment you will do the gram staining. Then second part, directly inoculate on the blood agar and chocolate agar, and third part is inoculate into enriched broth, that is the brain heart infusion broth, and from there if the ability comes then subculture on the blood agar and chocolate agar. If it is blood, then directly in the brain heart infusion broth and subculture of blood agar and chocolate agar. If it is nasopharyngeal swab, then Stewart's transport media and directly inoculate into the selective media, that is the Thayer-Martin media. For treatment, ceftriaxone for 7 days. Chemoprophylaxis is very important to remember, that is give ceftriaxone single dose intramuscular injection. So hope so the topic must be clear to you, and if you have any doubt you can ask in the comment section. And if you like this presentation, please like it and also subscribe it. Thank you.